Well, May, we at Bayer are very glad you decided to come back from space. And it's been a wonderful journey with you in the last 20 years, with you as our science literacy advocate. So it's truly a great honor for me to be here today and to receive this award on behalf of our 115,000 Bayer employees around the world. And this acknowledgement from the FBA means really a great deal. Your aim as the FBA is to develop awareness, understanding, and informed opinion on critical issues happening in the world today. And for your belief in what Bayer stands for, I thank you. I stand here with great pride today. Bayer just last year celebrated its 150th anniversary. And that is really something very special. And only a company that understands innovation and corporate social responsibility can celebrate such a success. And it's interesting to see how a company like Bayer developed and grew over the decades in Germany, in the United States, and worldwide. And how did we get here? We got here with a lot of hard work, of course, patience, and an undying belief in the importance of our mission, Science for a Better Life. In fact, it's hard to imagine how unremarkable it all began in 1863, in the time of Abraham Lincoln. After extensive chemical experimentation of two friends in their kitchen, Friedrich Bayer and John Westcott, they founded their company. And this was one of many startup companies in 1863 timeframe in the Ruhr area in Germany, where there was outstanding technological innovation going on. And in Bayer's case, it was making synthetic dyes for clothing out of coal tar. And then in 1865, as a testament of how early globalization started, 2 years later after its foundation, Bayer did its first acquisition, and it was also of a dye company based on coal tar in the capital of this great state, Albany, New York. And can you believe this? In 1865. So, an early example of globalization. The chemical industry grew, and also Bayer as a company continued to develop. And it became clear that with chemistry you can do so much more than just making chemical dyes. So, all these pioneering activities over the last 150 years led to our current businesses in healthcare, crop science, and in high-tech materials. Now, Bayer's overarching goal is to help more and more people live a better life, and our science helps us to continuously innovate to support this goal. Our core strength really lies into inventing new molecules and then making new products out of these molecules. So this brings me to the topic that is very close to my heart, and that is innovation, particularly in the life sciences. Bayer really keenly understands that in order to excel on global markets, innovation is absolutely key. Innovation will take us into a productive and profitable future. And we all understand the great challenges of our time. A growing world population which needs to be fed, increasing life expectancy which demands more health care. We have limited natural resources, we have climate change, urbanization. The list quickly gets quite long. So at Bayer, particularly in the life science areas, we think about some of the following things. Firstly, despite significant advances in medicine, more than half of all known diseases are still not adequately treatable today. And with people getting older, diseases specific to an elderly population need much more attention. And then secondly, just over a year ago, the world population crossed the 7 billion mark, And in 30 years, 9 billion people are expected to inhabit the Earth. So how will all these people be fed when today about 1 in 7 already people on this Earth, 1 billion in total, does not have adequate nutrition? The world has run out of new sources of arable land, and that means that we have to find ways and means to produce sustainably more and better food on the same amount of land. Therefore, new solutions with these two examples, just as illustrations in the life sciences, are absolutely necessary and cannot be developed fast enough. But I have to say 2 things concern me related to life science innovation, and that is the acceptance and appreciation. Because even the most far-reaching breakthrough ideas don't stand much of a chance if they aren't accepted and appreciated by society. And too often there is a fear for new ideas, for inventions, methods, or products. Actually, more precisely, there's a fear for the technology and chemistry behind them. For example, many people don't really know what a genetically modified crop is. They fear the outcome of genetic work, although this can improve or even save lives. And it means, for instance, we can increase crop yields to provide more food also in areas where there is significant lack of nutrition. And it is exactly this fear we aim to tackle at Bayer by showing over and over again that we care and that what we do really matters. And our initiative is always to improve or even save lives with the products that we invent in a safe and sound manner. But it's not just acceptance that we fight for, it's also appreciation. I'll give you another example. Everybody knows the brand of their car or smartphone. But when it comes to a life-changing or even life-saving drug that is developed to help patients with, say, heart disease or multiple sclerosis, the company that developed it is usually unknown by the patient. And when you walk into a doctor's office, he doesn't say, listen, I can successfully treat you because this pharmaceutical company developed a medication over the last decade and spent billions to help individuals like yourself. No, instead, the doctor prescribes the medication and the pharmaceutical company remains unnamed. And this is really quite a contrast to the car or smartphone companies who push their brand and are widely recognized by all. Innovation in the life sciences is usually much less acknowledged, and actually it's often simply taken for granted. And this is really what worries me. Because the industry invests billions in research and development, and then if successful, it has to wait 10 to 12 years before it can ultimately bring a new product into the market. And I fear that without acceptance and appreciation for life science innovation, our long-term business model is at risk. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's getting late. I just want to tell you a little bit more of how this all links to corporate social responsibility. CSR is part of the fabric of our corporate strategy, and our CSR commitments also embody the values of Bayer, a pioneering spirit and dedication to innovation. Now, in the old days, CSR activities at Bayer primarily included clubs for employees, and then we also let regular citizens in our towns become a member of it, and we called it not CSR at the time, but we called it socially responsible. This is how the many sporting clubs we have today were founded, and one example that you may know is the Bayer 04 Leverkusen soccer team, which is a professional soccer team that is actually one of my divisions in my company that I'm responsible for, and I think I'm the only CEO of a global Fortune 500 company that can say something like that. It's not always a pleasure, by the way. But now things are very different. Our strategic priorities in CSR link directly to what Bayer stands for, and it really has become an impactful tool also for us in promoting our mission, Science for a Better Life. We invest about $70 million yearly in CSR projects, and we do a lot, but two specific things that excite me personally are access to medicines and then the STEM education that May talked about. Access to medicine is very important for any healthcare company. We aim to improve healthcare in developing countries by providing essential medicines for the treatment of neglected tropical diseases. We also have patient assistance programs to provide the most direct opportunity for patients to access medicines that they otherwise could not afford. Chagas disease, you might have heard it, is a tropical disease that is widespread in many countries in South and Central America. And this is a very dangerous disease with a pathogen that is transmitted by blood-sucking insects mostly. It has an acute phase, initially an acute disease stage, but then 10 to 20 years later, after infection, very serious effects can still take place, including heart failure, cardiac arrest, and abdominal pain, and ultimately death. So Bayer Healthcare and the World Health Organization have been partners in the fight against Chagas disease for many years now, and Bayer provides 1 million tablets a year of a medicine Lempit, which is very, very effective in fighting this disease. The second CSR topic, and May already mentioned it, is education in the STEM subjects. To solve the great challenges of our time, we need people with strong capabilities and skills in these subject areas, and this interest has to be raised, especially when children are 12 to 13 years old. And even if these kids in the end do not use STEM later in their lives, it teaches them to understand, accept, and appreciate them, and this lays then the foundation for innovation to flourish in society. So we contribute to enhancing science education and reward the outstanding commitment of teachers and students. And one very good example is the Making Science Make Sense, the US program, of how Bayer employees go into the schools and help the children there and the teachers with the education in the STEM areas. We also have what we call bi-labs. These are small laboratories where high school students can come and spend a day with us doing life sciences experiments. And actually, I have my office in Leverkusen next to one of these labs. So every morning I see a bus with 30 students come in. They spend a day there in the laboratory. And at the end of the day, I see the kids come out with a T-shirt, and it says, Nobel Prize winner 2040. And so, very exciting. And in addition to that, a lot of programs to make the teachers, because these are the people that the kids interact with on a daily basis, make the teachers be better teachers, give them more tools, and also enable them to be more excited about science so that they can project then that excitement onto the children. So to wrap up, all of these programs add to a very strong affinity at Bayer for corporate social responsibility. And I would like to thank again the FBA for hosting such a wonderful event this evening and for honoring Bayer and the other winners tonight in such a very special way. So thank you all for your attention.